Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible very much.
You are audible.
Yes, sir. Good morning, one and all. I am Devi Sheth, Assistant Professor, ICFI Law School, Hyderabad. Welcome you all to the orientation program for the 2020-2025 batch students. It has been the practice of the ICFI Hyderabad to organize orientation program for the first-year students. The aim is to make the students familiar with the college rules and regulations and encourage them to gain focus in their upcoming 5 years professional studies environment. But due to the COVID situation in the country, we are forced to online. However, this orientation program will help the students to get with the online study environment and also the rules of ICFI Law School education. I now take immense pleasure in introducing the chief guest and the other dignitaries on the dais. I take immense pleasure in welcoming Professor J. Mahinder Reddy, Vice Chancellor, ICFI Foundation for Higher Education, Hyderabad. Thank you for joining us, sir. We have a chief guest for the day, Honorable Mr. Justice Kalyan Jyoti Sen Gupta, former Justice High Court for the state of Andhra Pradesh. We also have with us the chief guest for this occasion, a guest of honor for this occasion, Mr. Vivek Reddy, Advocate, High Court of Telangana. And we also have with us Professor A.V. Narasimha Rao, Director, ICFI Law School, Hyderabad. I welcome all the dignitaries, my colleagues, and of course the first-year students for the inaugural of the orientation program. I welcome one and all present for today's program. Moving forward, we have a Director, Sir, ICFI Law School, Hyderabad, Professor A.V. Narasimha Rao. Brief introduction to our Director, Sir. The doctorate in environmental law. He has 15 years of teaching and research experience in addition to the industry experience of 20 years. He has written more than 50 research articles published in national and international journals. He is specialized in corporate law, IPR, environmental law, banking, and insurance law. He has guided several LLM and MBA students for dissertation and thesis. Sir, I request you to address the gathering.
Thank you, Sri Devi. And now, formally, we will be starting our orientation program with the speech or with the blessings of Honorable Justice or Kalyan Sen Gupta ji. Before to that, I welcome our Honorable Judge of combined AP and Telangana High Court, and he was the last Justice of AP and Telangana High Court. Then he moved to Sikkim. From there, he is in Tripura now. Sir has already joined our programs in our law school many times earlier. He is well acquainted with our programs and various school. That's why we thought he'll be the person who can give his opinion and also give the opinion to our newly joining students about the profession. He was an advocate. He has played a different roles during his career. Coming to the other gentleman, Mr. Vivek Reddy, he is a student of National University, Bangalore, and also a student of Harvard Law School. He is a successful lawyer, and he has fought many important cases in corporate area, in other areas, in the High Court of Andhra Pradesh and also in Supreme Court. He is having a very big legal firm, and many of our students also complete their internship in that firm. We are closely associated with the young and dynamic lawyer, Mr. Vivek Reddy, who will be part of this particular program. We invited with the intention to share his experiences and the preparation, how a student should be in a particular part, how he has to prepare for during that particular part. And our Mahinder Reddy Garu, Vice Chancellor, he is our what's called a path setter, and also we will be supporting every time to us in every endeavor we start. This last school is successful because of his guidance and also his blessings. Without him, this would have been not done. And coming to the other dignitaries, here Professor Argo Varti, Justice Prakash Rao, Justice Sitapati Garu, Justice Yatrajlu Garu, and other allied people here who are associated with us from the day beginning, and we are able to work together, and we are able to give information to our students and share knowledge to them. Really, sir, we are thankful to all of you. We'll be happy because of your presence in this orientation program. ICFI Law School has completed 10 years of its establishment. Now it is entering into the 11th year. That is, 1 decade of its excellence in legal education is completed. With whatever the experiences and expertise is got, it is going to disseminate the same thing to our forthcoming batches. We have a great history beyond us because of our achievements, hard work, and hard work of our faculty members and cooperation with the students, and we could get our recognition across the legal fraternity and also in the arena of law schools. You know very well that our school has been ranked third among the top leading law schools of super excellence, and also we are number 4 by the India Today ranking. We are the law college of the year by the GHRDC and human rights review, not human rights, HRD review or higher education review. Like that, we are having a lot of feathers in our hat. We conducted many programs jointly with the Bar Council of India. Our all programs are recognized by the Bar Council of India. It is one of the a premier institute as recognized by the Bar Council of India among law schools across the country. We are very proud to be here and will be welcoming all the parents and also students on this particular day. Generally, we will be organizing this program in the auditorium, which will be full with the students and parents. Because of the pandemic, we are not able to do so, but as a practice, as a gesture, we want to do this online. Many of the people may not be able to join because of the online and lack of infrastructure here and there. However, we are going to meet personally very shortly once the things are over. I've been hearing from different sources or different sectors that there is a undecided problems with the students and parents because the CLAT examination is not completed, which has postponed many times earlier, and now it is scheduled 28. And again, there are some kind of confusions among the people about conducting the CLAT examination. This Bangalore University, National University Bangalore, is coming out of that. National University Delhi is already there, outside the CLAT, and a few more are thinking to come out of this particular CLAT cluster. Whatever it may be, let us hope they conduct the program very shortly to put a full stop to the thoughts of the students and also parents in that particular part. We should understand one thing very clearly. Seats in all national universities put together may be around 2,000 or 2,500. Students writing the CLAT examination is more than 50,000. You can check the ratio, how many people are being selected out of 50,000 in a law universities. Among law universities, all of them are not being choiced or volunteered. Few of them, maybe first 10 university may be in a good position. Thereafter, people will maybe thinking to very new law universities may not be having sufficient teaching facilities, sufficient infrastructure. They may be running in rented houses or like so. Whatever it may be, I want to tell one thing. National universities are not the end. There are many universities across the country which are equivalent to or on par with the national universities. And CLAT is not the only means to join the law universities. There are many universities conducting their own tests, like our university. We conduct ICFI Law School entrance test. So many universities are conducting the tests. When 50,000 people are aspiring, 2,500, 3,000 people are there is no other alternative for remaining people to join the important or well-known universities across the country other than the law school. If you are thinking that is only your destination, you will be wasting your time. Second, if you see the profiles of the judges already appointed to the Supreme Court, High Court so far, being recognized the best judges in India, all of them are not from the national universities. Many of them for only traditional universities, including Usmania University and including Delhi University, Calcutta University, and so on and so forth. So it is your commitment, it is your hard work, it is your plan, it is your roadmap which is going to make you success in the path, not the university. Of course, university will facilitate you to learn something out of that. But when you are joining universities, there are many universities like ICFI which can be opted equally or equal with that of the national universities. So we do have enough and sufficient part of it. I do agree the people in national university may be getting a wide options in different kinds of things. ICFI Law School is also having lots of options before you and lots of infrastructure facilities before you, lots of guidance for you, internship, all those things. We are also striving. It is a 10 years old university and 10 years old school. So we are here to help you. And you know, our people have achieved lots of success stories against the students of many law universities. We have been the best law school moot court competitions team in a moot court competition conducted by the Bar Council of India in 2016 and 17 and also 18. We have been awarded with many prizes, many shields. If you come to our college, in my room, you can see all those things. We do have very good library. We are having online library resources which you can share. So what I want to tell you in a short is, do not waste your time by thinking that you are going to get a seat in CLAT. Only those people who are sure to have above 200 or 300 ranks, max of 500 ranks, you can get. But all other people have to come, wait. By the time CLAT is over, other law college starts, you will miss this bus also. First, you join the colleges, any of your choice, including law school. If you got a good law school, national university, then you can skip here, go there. You may sacrifice small part of your fee so that you'll be getting your part of it. I'm not questioning the credibility of the law school, national university. They are good, but that does not mean that all other law schools are bad. Please take that in consideration. We have already started our law school on August 3rd for remaining semesters. Now we are starting our law school from 14th onwards. This particular week will be the orientation. We would like to give a picture of law faculty and also rules and regulations to you. And we have been doing successfully on online classes, a special called Microsoft Teams successfully. With these few words, I welcome all of you and all of you to this platform and enjoy the blessings of Justice, Mr. Justice Kalyan Sen Gupta ji, our Mahendra Reddy Garu, Vivek Reddy Garu, and other honorable judges and senior professors. Thank you for inviting me to Sridevi Garu. You can do next time, next class.
Thank you, Director Sir. This is Rishabh Soni this side. There is some internet flake at Sridevi's ma'am's end, so I'll be taking.
Okay. Sridevi, you are not clear. Let Rishabh Soni do it.
Thank you.
Rishabh, take.
Thank you, Director Sir. It was cherishing to hear out such a wise words from you, and something which I now remember after the commencement of the United States Constitution. Also, when the Thomas Jefferson he looked back to the Capitol, he said that the momentum of the legal education should never stop. So even if there is any kind of pandemic, that should not stop our legal education from going further. Thank you so much for your wise words. Moving forward, it is my immense pleasure to have with us Professor J. Mahendra Reddy, Vice Chancellor, ICFI Foundation for Higher Education, Hyderabad, on this occasion. Professor J. Mahendra Reddy, the Vice Chancellor of ICFI Foundation for Higher Education, is also the Chancellor of ICFI University in Tripura and Raipur. He got his master's from Delhi School of Economics and doctorate in economics from University of Alberta in Edmonton, Canada in 1970. He later taught in the Faculty of Business Administration at the same university, St. Peter's College in the United States, Administrative Staff College of India, and at the Osmania University for over 3 decades. He also won the Best Teacher Award in 2002 from then Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. Apart from that, he has guided 14 PhDs and 9 MPhil scholars in Osmania and ICFA universities and published 40 research papers and 10 books in the areas of foreign trade and investment, business and economics, forecasting, and applied economics. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Sir, moving further, we have with us as our chief guest for the orientation program, Honorable Mr. Justice Kalyan Jyoti Singh, former Justice High Court of the State of Andhra Pradesh. Justice.
Rishav?
Yes, sir.
Wait, let Mr. Mahendra Reddy speak, then you can introduce him.
Yes, definitely, sir. Sir, please duly join us and please share some wisdom words with us for our prospective students, sir. Thank you.
Mahendra Reddy Garu.
Yes.
You may on your video, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
You are audible, not visible.
Okay. Am I visible now?
No, sir.
Okay. Now? No.
Now visible.
Was visible.
Okay, sir.
Now let me start. Justice K.J. Mr. Vivek Reddy, Advocate, High Court of Telangana, Professor A.V.N. Rao, Director, ICFI Law School, other distinguished High Court judges, distinguished professors in the Department of Law in the ICFI University, and members of the faculty, my dear students of BBA.LLB and BA.LLB honors programs and their parents, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Narasimha Rao and his colleagues for asking me to be here this morning. It's great to share, to be with Justice Sengupta. I have known him before, and I'm glad he's the Chief Justice at Tripura, where I happen to be the Vice Chancellor for 4 years. Sir, very nice meeting you, sir, virtually. We consider it as an honor, and it's a privilege to have you virtually on this occasion. Your presence is a great source of inspiration to me, entire faculty of law, and the students of law.
Thank
First,
you.
I wish to say a few words about. First, I wish to say a few words about the university for the benefit of students. This is a deemed to be university under Section 3 of the UGC Act 1956. Deemed to be university, you don't have any doubts. It's like a full-fledged university. It's actually better than other private universities. It is because of the excellence the Government of India sanctions the deemed to be status. It is accredited by NAC with A+ grade, and it is to autonomous institution as classified by the UGC. There are very few universities in the country with both these achievements, both achievements of A+ in NAC and category 2 autonomous status by the UGC. So you are very fortunate to get here. As Professor Narasimha said rightly, what is important is not whether you got admission into a national law school or not. You can do wonders by joining this university and by working hard in these next 5 years. I congratulate you for getting admission in this university. You are privileged to study here. The university has 3 faculties: management, law, and engineering. Law school has successfully completed a decade, as told by Dr. Rao, and entered into the 11th academic year. I congratulate all the students who have joined in first year by choosing a very reputed law school. The ICFI Law School offers 5-year integrated honors program, BBA.LLB, BA.LLB, 1-year LLM, and also PhD apart from certificate courses. 6 batches of students have successfully passed out so far, and all of them are settled with employment in reputed law firms, corporate firms, and practice. Every year, the students win awards and prizes in international, national level moot court competitions and other co-curricular and extracurricular activities and other competitions. As Professor Narasimha Rao mentioned, ICFI Law is ranked number 3 among the top government and private law schools in the country, and number 1 in the state of Telangana by Competition Success Review magazine. The business school, you see, the business school of the university is known internationally. It received AACSB International Accreditation in February 2020 for 3 of its programs, BBA, MBA, and PhD. This is the highest standard of achievement for business schools worldwide. Earning of the accreditation confirms IFHE's commitment to high quality and to the continuous improvement of its management programs brought in by a rigorous and comprehensive peer review. The strength of the university is in management. And that's the reason we started BBA.LLB, which is in great demand. BA.LLB is also in good demand. The degrees from the university is acceptable anywhere in India or abroad, and this university has signed MOUs with Pittsburgh and Manchester Metropolitan Universities and other universities, and a better chance of getting admission in these universities. In the past, 2 students have gone abroad to UK and US for higher studies. So as a result of, now parents are here listening to me, students are here listening to me, as a result of working hard these 5 years, you can become a successful lawyer, you can get a good job in corporate sector. So many companies required law graduates with management and finance background, or you can go abroad for higher studies. So opportunities are plenty. So you now concentrate on your work from today onwards. Next 5 years are extremely important. Now, AVN Rao has already covered the essence of what I wanted to say. You see, your hard work is important, but nevertheless, I have come prepared with some points and I will elaborate them. The National Education Policy 2020, which came out, which was signed by the cabinet only about a month back, emphasizes on conceptual understanding with focus on applications and logic, critical thinking, and innovation. So the questions you have to ask as you join today the program are, how do you achieve good communication skills? As lawyers, you need to be absolutely clear in your communications. Number 2, achieve conceptual clarity with focus on applications and logic. Logic is the most important word in law. You have to have your reasoning. You see the advocates arguing in Supreme Court and High Courts, how much their arguments are full of reason and logic. The third point is, how do you achieve creativity and innovation? This is the need of the hour. Every country is striving for innovation. You will be happy to know that India ranked in Innovation Index globally. It is top among the nations in Central and Southern Asia. This is according to the Global Innovation Index List 2020 released by the World Intellectual Property Organization, and also located in Cornell University and INSEAD Business School in Europe. There is an eastward locus of countries like India, China, Philippines, and Vietnam have advanced considerably in innovation rankings. China stands at 13 in the year 2020. India has improved its rank from 57 in 2018 to 52 in 2019 to 48 in 2020. Innovation will be nurtured in the classroom. I am happy to inform you that we have a Center for Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Incubation. So what is important is innovation, creativity. You see, days are gone, rote learning, goodbye to rote learning. And here in this university, 7,000 students are there. Every class is going to focus on creativity and innovation. That is our philosophy. So the question is, how do we achieve that? I'll comment on that a little later. The fourth point I want to say is, how do you achieve a balance between curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities? All of you should become well-rounded personalities at the end of the 5 years. You attend the classes, you learn curricular, you have co-curricular activities. So many clubs are there, and so many curricular activities, sports, games. You must also take part and become well-rounded personalities. So I would like to tell you the role and responsibility. What is the role and responsibility of yours as you join the college today? The role and responsibility of the students in the campus to achieve these objectives. First and foremost is regularity to classes, online or face-to-face. For some time, we will be online. But don't think that, what is there online? Online, I want to tell you very sincerely, can be as effective as face-to-face. It can be as interesting as face-to-face. It is no less than face-to-face. So you should take it serious and attend the classes online punctually and regularly. Never miss a class. You should not miss a single class. And pin drop silence in the class. That is extremely important because it should get the benefit of the class. Classes should be interactive, teacher moderating the discussion. Raise questions when you are not clear. No question is a stupid question. Not clear, raise your hand, and ask right there so that it will clarify. And the teacher, Professor Narasimha Rao, made many attempts to recruit so many faculty, and they are all highly qualified members, and their time is precious. They spend a lot of time preparing to the class, so you should take it serious and attend and intervene whenever you have questions. Supplement your class with reading textbooks and reference books prescribed to you. Every course has a textbook and one of the reference books. I want to tell you out of my experience. I was a student in Delhi School of Economics. I was a student in Canada. I was a student in Usman University. It's extremely important. I used to spend hundreds of dollars xeroxing the material which is prescribed in the class. You see, during the class, think about conceptual clarity and applications. First of all, when a concept is told, you must be clear of what that concept is. And second, why is that useful? Why is that concept useful? What are its applications? After the class, this is very important. I tell you and the parents that prepare a one-page write-up on what was covered in the class in your own words. You have written 3-4 page notes in the class, but at the end of it, in your own words, you can summarize what has been done in this class today, so that excellent preparation for you for the next class and the next class and so on. What is the objective of India and how does it differ from UK and US? See, what is globalization? You must understand what is globalization. Why is it relevant for lawyers? How do you manage globalization to avoid extreme inequalities? How do you protect people against globalization? Why should corporate lawyers know about climate changes, cyber security, and human rights? You must ask questions. If it's economics class, you must ask the question, why is a demand curve negatively sloped? If a demand curve is negatively sloped, ask the question, why it is not positively sloped? You have to argue the case, yes, it is negatively sloped. What is the reason? What is the logic? Why the supply curve is positively sloped? Why the prices of vegetables sometimes go up and down? What is the reason? You must explain logically. Similarly, why the price of gold has recently gone up by so much? It is logic, explanation, which is most important. And what is the role of competition? When you are talking about competition, the teacher will naturally refer to you to the Competition Commission. What is the role of the Competition Commission? And you must be clear of why, how, and why the Competition Commission ensures that it is benefit of the society. It is to protect the degree of competition in the society, and you must explain why. What is insolvency and bankruptcy code? So what I'm trying to say is, in every class, logic is important. The other things like equations, like diagrams, like data, like tables. They are secondary, they are tools. You should know them, but they are not the masters. Master is logic and the way you present the logic. Evidence is important to support your logic. You must be constantly in touch with current affairs through newspapers to know socio, political, economic, and legal environment. To summarize, you should develop good communication skills, analytical mind, and critical thinking. Prepare well. If you are regular to the class, examination is not a problem. But you must think about it. Soon you will have midterm, you will have final. You should have the entire course content at a glance and prepare for the examination. Refer old question papers. I used to refer when I was a student, and that will help you prepare for the exam. We have excellent faculty. You can meet them during the consultancy hours. Take a prior appointment. What I want to advise you is, before you go meet a faculty member, you be clear of what you want to ask. Unless you have that clarity, you should not meet. You must be clear in your mind, because their time is precious. They each one teaches 3 courses. And says interaction with the other students. The peer group interaction is also, you learn a lot. And the peer group interaction, discussion, and healthy debates with your classmates will be of immense help. And Professor Rao, Avian Rao is spending a lot of time to bring eminent persons like Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, Law Commission chairmen. I myself had the privilege of meeting them, and advocates, eminent advocates, and other legal luminaries. And he has established 5 centers of excellence, namely cyber law and data protection law, environmental law, corporate and commercial law, intellectual property rights, and criminal law. Through these centers, eminent people, and you should consider it as important for you to attend whenever he organizes these general lectures, not your classroom. But you don't say that I have nothing to do with that general lecture. That is yours. Take part. You must ask questions. You must interact. That is how you will grow in this institution. You must participate in co-curricular and extracurricular activities such as Model United Nations, of Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda, Constitution Day, Independence Day, cultural events, sports, and games. Debating competitions are there. Essay writing competitions are there. You should participate. Winning is not important. Participation with sincerity and hard work is important. Social service activities like blood donation camp, Swachhata Pakwada, Haritaharam, and visits to nearby villages to provide social and legal awareness among villagers. The concern for society is better. You take up these activities. In various events and competition organized by the university and other institutions in the country, and bring laurels to the law school and the university. So to close my presentation, you work hard to make your teachers happy, and above all, you should make your parents happy by your performance in the university. Best wishes. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor, sir. It was a pure essence and immense to hear from you, and such an enriching terms for this upcoming students. Being an alumni also myself of the same institution, I also studied law with ICFI, and I'm very proud to share that with everyone. After studying my bachelor's in business administration and LLB, I went to US for master's, and I came back and I found my space back to my home university. So it's been an honor serving at the pleasure of the ICFI Law School, Hyderabad. Moving forward, I will like to introduce, moving forward, we have with us our chief guest for the orientation program, Honorable Mr. Justice Kalyan Jyoti Sen Gupta, former Justice High Court of the State of Andhra Pradesh. The Justice Kalyan Sen Gupta, born on 7th May 1953, enrolled as an advocate on 21st April 1981. He participated in the High Court in the 1997 and also served as the Chief Justice at the Calcutta High Court. Please, can someone mute?
So you unmute.
Sir, I am.
He's
Unmuted.
muted, sir. I think someone else was.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Moving further.
Hello.
Sir has served. Moving further. Sir has served as a Chief Justice at the Calcutta High Court. Sir was appointed as the Chief Justice of the Andhra Pradesh High Court in May 2013. Sir has also served as the Chancellor of the Nasser University of Law, Hyderabad. And Sir was the former chairperson of Lokya Youth Institute and present chairperson of Human Rights Commission, Tripura. Honored to have you with us today, sir. I request Honorable Mr. Justice Kalyan Jyoti Sen Gupta, former Justice High Court for the State of Andhra Pradesh, to give a keynote address to the aspiring minds of the first-year students. Sir, please join us.
Much. Can you hear me? I'm audible.
Sir,
I'm
you are
audible. I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So, good morning to everyone. At the outset, I express my gratitude to the ICPA University for calling me again, and as they still remember me. Thank you very much. The esteemed and noble Vice Chancellor, Reddy Garu, and my beloved and learned director, Rao Garu, and the learned advocate, Mr. Vivek Reddy. And I'm told that honorable judges are also joined this program. So I convey my regard to all of them. And my dear students, dear parents, I just convey my regards and my best wishes to everyone. I have been called upon to speak on a particular subject on the legal profession only. I fully agree with the esteemed director that it's not the institution which matters, it's the knowledge which matters. It's not the renowned school, university, all things, it doesn't matter in legal profession. This institution is needed only to obtain a degree and to get himself enrolled as an advocate. That is what is most important. But the legal education has taken a different shape and dimension altogether nowadays, that is, as it was missing during our old days. And legal education has become so attractive in many fields, it is unimaginable during my time. I started my legal education in 3 years part-time course in night classes. And the classes used to be taken in the evening thrice in a week only. It was a 3-year course, post-graduation course, 3 years. We completed LLB. But nowadays, when it has become a full-fledged curriculum and course, now opportunities galore. One can take a career as an academician, and one can take as a profession in the litigation in the court of law or any other institutions. And one can become the service holder in any law firm or any industry or any establishment. It is a choice with the students. Now, coming to the legal professions and the changing situation, I would like to share my experience. Before I complete my law degree, I was in railway service. So there I used to appear in the domestic inquiry for defending the employee. So this was my experience to defend an inquiry, a delinquent public servant. After joining a bar, then what I did, I started practicing in all sides. So I will recommend and advise after becoming an advocate, one should not be choosy. He should take up all cases and he should start his practice from the trial court, from in the civil side, in a district court, district judges court or subordinate court, like criminal cases in sessions court or magistrate court. Then he will move forward to High Court and Supreme Court. Unless you know the basic skill of application of law, you cannot develop your practice. So, those students who have come up from lawyers' family or judges' family, they are certainly in advantageous position. They will be guided by their respective parents how he will flourish. Now, what I feel as a person coming from non-lawyer's background, that one should think of joining practice even before completion of his law degree. Because I did it when I was a student of intermediate in a LLB course. I joined a barrister's chambers as a student, as a learner. And there I used to take dictation from him and to find out what Professor Vice Chancellor said, that find out the logic and law point to hunt and research from the books itself. Then how to learn the art of drafting, particularly in Calcutta High Court, is a pleading is a very strong, and to learn how to draft a pleading is very important, because Calcutta High Court, like Bombay and Madras, is having original side and appellate side together. And therefore, as a lawyer, what one should have the high sense of commitment. To him, there would not be status of any litigant at all. All litigant would be same whether he is paid or not. Now, coming to the sense profession, how is developed historically. Actually, legal profession developed gradually. It was not a trade, commerce, and business like. Initially, there was no class of lawyer. The judges used to hear only the parties. Then it was required, then some assistance is required from an intelligent and logical person. Naturally, the judges groomed the lawyers, and initially the judges started tutoring the persons qualified to become a lawyer. Then now today's situation has come up in a revolutionary way. Now, a lawyer cannot have any legal right to appear before the court as a matter of right, unless the law permits him to appear. He cannot appear. In the civil proceedings, it is guided by Order 3 of the Code of Civil Procedure as a recognized agent. For example, before the family court, still in Calcutta, no lawyer is allowed to appear. Parties only themselves will appear. Even industrial dispute, there are forums where the parties are appearing, not the lawyers, unless the judge or presiding officer permits him to appear. Therefore, it has to be thought that it is a right subject to the legal restriction and the provisions. Then one has to have learned this before joining a bar. Now, the next thing is require non-attachment to the result of the litigation. This is most important. If he attached or equate himself with the client and litigant, that he can't be a lawyer. His dedication and his attention and attachment to the work only, and the place his case before the court of law, and then require a high sense of independence and dedication. How it can be acquired and everything, Vice Chancellor has already spoken to you the guidelines how it could be. But in practical way of life, what I will recommend, the moment you have completed your third year, from fourth year, you should join the lawyer's chamber to have the practical training from the lawyer's chambers itself before you join there. Because no, you will not get any work after you complete your degree and gets enrolled, then you are where then you no. Profession is meant for a patience. There is an old adage I have heard. Seniors, very successful, renowned, learned barristers in Kolkata High Court, like Ashok Sen and his seniors and all other people have told me, which I can just told you. They say, past 10 years for a lawyers, no money, all work. And next 10 years, as much money, as much work. And last 10 years, all money, no works. Then it requires a patience and dedication. In one word, if anyone can stay with the profession without expecting any income, then his income is the sky limit only. And not only that, in legal profession, you have got so many opportunities. Number one, if you want to become a judge in any level, you are to join the legal profession now. To become a judge in junior division, you have to complete 3 years nowadays. Then you are entitled to complete the competitive examination to become a judge of junior level. Then district judge, you can become a district judge after completion of minimum 7 years under the constitution also. And then high court judges, principal, all are most 60%. 60% of the high court judges are elevated or appointed from and among the high court practitioners. So naturally, legal profession is the most attractive. In old days, there was no separate, so to say, profession of academics profession was not to be hard in the legal field. The successful lawyers, successful barristers, or even judges used to go and teach the student the law. But now it was thought that no, it should not be a part-time basis, it should be a full-time basis. So now this course, 5 years course has been followed. So therefore the academicians is a very, very attractive option for any student to become an academician. You have heard your directors, and you have heard your the vice chancellors and also the learned lawyers who has joined here, and that they are also academician. Now, I have also delivered lectures after becoming a judge, or when I was a lawyer in law schools, and even today, I also deliver lectures whenever I am invited anywhere. In Tripura Human Rights, at presently, I am as a chairperson. I also encourage so many institutions delivering lectures, police academics, etc. Sikkim, Gangtok, I was chairperson of Sikkim Lokaut. There the lawyers used to appear. So I think that one should have a dedication to the legal profession and to the law only. I can tell you one adage, what is called legal profession is a jealous mistress. Therefore, if you just do not give any attention to the legal profession will run away from you. And how it could be developed now? This is one of the things because of today's situation. I fully agree with the state vice chancellors that all these gadgets should not make you servant of it. You make it servant. You make it useful as far as possible. And as far as the present day situation, as I understand and think and watch, that media has taken a role of everywhere. So I will advise all the budding lawyers who are present. You read the news item. You read everything. Please don't swayed by the comments made or news supplied. Always remember these are the hearsay evidence. These are neither believable nor disbelievable. With this idea, you should take the media, don't be swayed. When Professor Vice Chancellor said that in logic, I fully agree. Law is nothing but the best logic, and this will emanate after deliberation and consultation. Then only the best logic brought forth. And your duty is to place before the court the law and which law is applicable to the facts of the case. Therefore, you need to marshal the fact first. What is the fact before you? After you marshal the fact, then you have to think which law would be applicable here. Therefore, how it can be done? Because according to me, law is such a subject like chemistry. Easy to learn and easy to forget. Therefore, one has to remember the law. It is not important to know all the laws and to keep all the laws in your mind. It is most important to know what the law is and how to apply at the appropriate time and appropriate moment. That is the most important. So it can be done in the way which I still practice even while holding arbitration and also doing my duty as a chairperson while preparing report a violation of human rights in Tripura. Still today, what I do, I read the bare act of substantive law, each and every section. Today, before I joined this program, I was just looking at the provision of Order 3, the recognized agent in the Civil Procedure Code. What is the recognized, how it is appropriate? Why I say the lawyers is nothing but a recognized agent before the court of law, and the right of audience is given in that act only. Certainly, legal profession is covered by the Fundamental Right Article 19 of the Constitution of India. But as you know, Article 19 is coupled with a reasonable restriction. And that restriction is provided by the law, namely Civil Procedure Code, like Criminal Procedure Code, Family Court, all these are there. And also in domestic forum also. Therefore, one should understand. Hello? 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 Hello, can you hear
No,
me?
sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. We are able to hear.
Oh, okay. Then I can go carry on.
Yeah,
Okay.
please continue.
Go ahead, please. Now, our polity is governed by the constitutional democracy, not the democracy as everyone just shouts. The democracy as mentioned in the Constitution itself. So Constitution is ruling our country. That is to say, a rule of law. The rule of law is one of the basic structure of the Constitution as defined in Kesavananda Bharati's case, and that litigant is reported to have died, as I see in the newspaper. So in 1973, the landmark judgment was delivered by the Supreme Court 13-bench decision. And that decision is one of the basic structure is the rule of law. So long the rule of law will remain, the legal profession will remain. Always remember, the lawyers will remain in the institution. The judges will come, judges will go, but the lawyer has to stay in the institution. I mean the High Court or any court. Hello, can you hear me? I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're audible. Please go ahead.
Institutions, therefore, the court and legal institutions will remain. And who will keep it intact and independent is the lawyers. So now you can understand how the onerous task of the lawyer is this. Now, coming to the success in today's situation. Now, when I joined the legal profession in 1981, there are not so many of laws as on today, and there are no so many forums as on today. Large offshore is there. But I should say one has to learn the basic and fundamental things. First, one should learn about the Civil Procedure Code, Criminal Procedure Code. This is the two procedure and also Evidence Act. It should be kept in mind in always. Three things, and also the rules of the court where you are practicing. The four things you must be kept in your mind. Then there are substantive law in which area you want to practice. I tell you, if you practice in criminal sessions court, civil trial court, and thereafter income tax. Income tax is such a law. If you learn properly, then you learn all civil and criminal law. If you read income tax properly. Therefore, when you join, before you join, then you first start general practice, civil, criminal both, in district court and trial court level, and simultaneously appellate in high court together. As you know, the constitutional litigation is started only in the High Court and Supreme Court. So High Court is having the original court of instance of the constitutional law. So constitutional law is another branch and constitutional litigation is another branch. Unless one has a sound civil and criminal background, one cannot specialize in any subject as everything emanates from civil right. Because one has to understand from a particular problem whether the litigant has any justiciable right. To identify the justiciable right, this is the fundamental thing, whether in civil side or criminal side. What is justiciable right? A justiciable right is that which can be enforced before a court of law, under the law, and to get relief under the law. This is the justiciable right. And so justiciable defense. Supposing there has been a charge of murder against a particular person, so he has a right of defense and it's a constitutional guarantee that he cannot be convicted without due process of law. Not due process of law, the procedure established by law. And this is one of the facets of Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Before Constitution came into being, the bail matter did not have any importance at all. Granting, refusing detention, no importance before Constitution came into being. But the moment Constitution came into being, then Article 21 and Article 19 together gives the personal liberty and right to life. Because as you know, any detention without any legal provision, that is called unauthorized detention, and that is the constitutional tort, and constitutional fundamental right has been infringed by the state action. So it is an actionable. And nowadays, that is why bail has become very important issues nowadays. Otherwise, bail was not a very important thing. So therefore, as a lawyer, we must know what is your justiciable right. All right and all grievance cannot be placed before the court. We have to scandalize, and naturally, then you are to focus on the particular law. Only you can do it when you will follow. But you cannot develop it overnight. It is by practice. More the problem you will face, more the problem you solve, then you get experience and you get knowledge. And then you will gradually become a competent lawyer. Most important aspect is this. As a lawyer, one should earn the confidence and trust of the court at the first instance. I mean, in the court or any court you are practicing or you want to practice. This is the first thing. And before that, you are to enjoy the confidence of a seniors in whose chamber you are learning the job practical life. So as a practitioner, before I become a lawyer, when I was a student of intermediate, second year student, then I joined my teacher's barrister's chamber as a juniors. Then I continued to become a juniors. Then I have attended his chamber. I earned his trust and confidence. If I earn the trust and confidence of the seniors, then automatically I will learn the tools and techniques how to earn the confidence of the judges first. If the judge trusts you, then you remember that you have been successful 60% in your practice. This is the most important thing. You never, as a lawyer, one should not tell incorrect fact before the court of law. You can argue in your law, in your own interpretation, placing the law, but you never distort the fact. And if you do not do so, and if you don't practice any unintentional misleading, any act and activities, then you will be disbelieved by everyone. Once this happens, then your career as a lawyer will be finished. But as I said, nowadays, how you can, in changing situation, how you can do, I can give an advice. Now, ADR means Alternate Dispute Resolution Forum has come up. As a beginner, you can appear before the Lok Adalat. You can appear before the conciliation and mediation. And gradually you can join arbitration. Thereafter you can go to the High Court. It is very easier in Lok Adalat conciliation because before the court of law, you have to be very sure about your fact, law, etc. application. And don't dishearten even if you are unsuccessful in any case as a lawyer. So next thing is this. Another thing is this. Yes. Now, after completing 5 or 6 years in general way, then you can specialize. Either you can join corporate law, or you can join arbitration. You can do criminal only. But basic things is that you should be a general practitioner at the first instance. Now, while practicing, if you feel that you want to serve judiciary, and obviously you can join judicial services. Firstly, as a junior division civil judge or magistrate, judicial magistrate, after completing 3 years. And then after completing of 7 years, you can become a district judge. Then from there, from the direct district judge means you have a very bright career and future. Even you can become a CJI. This is your goal. Because as I know, Justice Ahmedi, Justice Lahoti, and there are so many judges who were direct recruit to district judge. From district judge, they were elevated to High Court judge, thereafter the Supreme Court, and they became the CJI. Therefore, I would suggest everyone to join profession. And the way nowadays legal education is imparted with such a care and such a dedication, and it is very, very encouraging for anyone. Even I feel that had I born in this era, I could have learned much more than what I have learned during my student days in the legal career. But in our days, the teachers and successful lawyers used to come in the evening, and even judges used to come in the evening to take classes. And their mode of imparting education was practical oriented. One day, a senior lawyer who was a professor, he came. Then he saw an incident on the street of stabbing of his own witness, of his own. Then he narrated the entire incident. And before coming to college, he also informed the police station, and police station lodged an FIR. Then he, narrating the entire fact, then he started telling us, showing the legal provision, how it is to be solved and in which way it will go, how the investigation will be started, how he is important, how the trial would start, who could be the accused, who could be the witness, and all the legal provisions side by side criminal law shows us. I remember distinctly. And therefore, today you can get an opportunity. Nowadays, you are reading in the newspaper, so many incidents is happening. You know that a much hyped an incident has taken place, a film actor died. Whether it is a case of suicide or homicide or something else, that is a different aspect. So as a student, you try to solve of your own how it could be investigated. Find out the legal provision. Find out how the police, watch and follow from the newspaper itself how the investigation is going on. Please don't go by what comment is made in the debate in media. Don't be influenced. You listen, you hear everything, but develop your own conception and your own logic and conviction, as Professor Vice Chancellor has spoken to you. For this learning, and in order to become a successful lawyer, one does not necessarily require a very education from renowned national law school or any foreign degree, etc. But the foreign degree and all this will help you, undoubtedly. But success in profession is not depending upon your academic brilliance and academic career. Because I know in those days there was a matriculate barristers. After completing matriculation, and they or even they used to go to London first graduation, then ICS. Those people who failed ICS, they did complete the bar, barrister at law. It's a diploma. They came back and then became very successful lawyer and barristers. And their legal education, what their background, it doesn't matter. There are unsuccessful persons in academic field, very, very mediocre. I remember a person as a very renowned lawyer, whose name is Mr. Ashok Sen. During his time, he was top lawyer in the country. Top lawyer in the country. So he failed ICS. So he completed bar, then he became one of the successful lawyer. And I know that a person who failed matriculate twice, then somehow he got through. Then became barred, then he became successful practice. Therefore, knowledge is one thing, and wisdom is another thing. So wisdom, according to me, is the skill of application of your legal knowledge. That is called wisdom. If you want to become a lawyer, you have to have your wisdom. And this wisdom is a must to become a lawyer. So now, today, you're Mr. Next, Vivek Reddy is an advocate who is practicing in the Telangana High Court. I am informed that he will be able, in present day situation, what is the challenge is there. Another thing I just want, or rather, tell the budding lawyers or budding academicians or budding judges, or maybe the politician, you never know, that nowadays the tendency has become to take the law in hand, take the law in your own hand. So to take the law in your own hand. Take the law in your own hand. Recently, you know that in UP, there has been an encounter Whether justified or not, that is neither here nor there. And there has been an incident in court and elsewhere also. The Supreme Court has passed a judgment for holding inquiry commission. But when I was in a seminar, I remember 10th December 2019, in Human Rights Day in Agartala. Then a very high dignitary on the dais told the audience that police has done excellent job and instant justice has been meted while shooting down the accused person. Just think. But it is the perception of the people. I would rather request everyone to discourage and discard all these thoughts and processes, but you cannot just patiently and quietly. Everything comes down to the law and logic. But I agree that patience of the people is eroded nowadays in the justice delivery system and legal system together. But the trust and confidence of the people as a whole still is intact. You are the future generation. You are to keep the judicial and legal system for your own interest. Because we are going out. We have now become useless. We have become like a ghost or departed soul from the society, so to say. Because the departed soul is sometimes remembered for wisdom and advice. But you are the future. You are the shepherd. And another thing I will request you, please, if you go for abroad study, please don't settle. Come back to our country and serve. And how much dedication is required in a legal profession, I can give you one small instance that you will understand what is required, how non-attachment and dedication is required in legal profession. Then I will end. You must have heard the name of great man Sardar BB.LLB Patel. You must have heard. Sardar BB.LLB Patel was a barrister and successful lawyer in the then Bombay High Court. He was arguing a case before the Chief Justice bench. But I have heard the story. If I am wrong altogether, I'll get myself corrected by anyone, because I'm still amenable to be corrected, as I know that I commit mistake always. So while he was arguing, then someone, his learned junior, just whispered him that his mother has passed away. So then for a moment he just took a breath and then took a glass of water. Then Chief Justice asked him, "Yes, Mr. Patel, what happened to you? Why you stopped arguing?" Because then he says, "My lord, nothing happens." So fine, because I needed a glass of water, I took it. Of course, I did not take your lordship permission, so I beg to be excused. This was the etiquette of the barristers and freedom fighters before the British judge. They were very respectful in the court. Then he argued full length up to 4 o'clock. Then the judges said, "Then yes, the matter will be heard tomorrow." Part heard. Then Mr. Patel says with respect, "My lord, kindly excuse me. Tomorrow I may not be available. And because I have solemn duty towards the greatest and holiest soul of my mother." Why? Answer is that just 2 hours back I have been informed I have lost my mother. So I will go back, ritual will be done. For tomorrow I may not be able to come to court, or maybe for 15 days thereafter. Kindly adjourn for only 2 days to enable my client to engage another counsel to argue from the stage I left. Of course, I will pass on up to what stage I have argued, and the new lawyer who will be replacing me will argue from that stage in order to waste the court's time. So learned judges then immediately says, Please ask your clients whether your client is prepared to wait for you. But we are prepared to wait for your services for any time. Then he took instruction from his solicitor. The solicitor says, yes, his client will be waiting for his resumption and welfare appraisal in judge's court. This is the things, the commitment. And I know a commitment of a person in our Calcutta High Court. He was the father of Mr. Siddhartha Shankar Ray. He lost his sister while arguing a case. I did not stop. Same thing happened. And it is so irony of fate, the father of Siddhartha Shankar Ray, while he was arguing, he was a barrister, while he was arguing, he just died in the court itself. But his clerk and secretary told the litigant and solicitor junior that he had an attack in the morning. Still then he has come to complete the argument so that his client is not suffer and prejudice. I just give you the anecdotes of the degree of commitment towards the cause, not to the client. He has taken the whip to represent the client case before the court of law as if it is his own case. But what would be the result that is not in hand, they don't bother about the result. You see, there are so many lawyers who get the opportunity as lawyers. When the client gets a very good result, more than he desired, then he used to give something more. So you, as a lawyer, don't have to resist the temptation of accepting anything more than his required fees he has announced to charge. In my life, it has happened so many times. As I have been learned from the generation and our judicial tradition that not to charge more than. I never used a car of the litigant. I reached to court bicycle. When there's a general strike, nothing is available. I don't have any car of my own. So client wanted to send his car to reach the court. I simply told him, don't take the risk, I will not use your car. I simply took my bicycle, then after riding for 10 kilometers, I had reached the High Court. And I did the case. So what I faced, because of the situation I faced, I don't say that you follow it. One has to face the hardship. Why the European people are much ahead of us in various fields? Because of the thing, even if they are a rich man, they struggle hard. They do the work by themselves. But but we are Indian people, when we are affluent, we don't do the things by ourselves. So with these few words, maybe relevant, I don't know. Now I will stop here. Thank you very much for inviting me this program. Thank you. Thank you, all the best.
Thank you so much, Justice Kalyan Jyoti Singh Gupta, sir. Your experience at the bench and even after serving the bench is tutelage, and it's very immensely important for not only for us, but even for the upcoming generation. So thank you so much for that. Moving further, now I would like to have with us the chief guest for the occasion, Mr. Vivek Reddy, advocate for the High Court of Telangana. Sir is a gold medalist from LLSIU Bangalore. He has done his master's in law from Harvard Law School, Harvard University. After working for nearly half a decade in the US, Sir came back to India and began a litigation practice in Hyderabad. 8 years into the field, he now has a significant presence in the city with the firm Vivek Reddy Law Chambers. Sir has experience in representing leading companies like Facebook, WhatsApp, Tech Mahindra, ABCL, Yashoda Hospital, Continental Hospital, Esser Ports, Vishakhapatnam Steel Plant, and also many other firms. Sir was appointed by the state of Telangana as special counsel to present cases on behalf of the Advocate General from 2014 to 2017. Sir is a resource person from National Judicial Academy, Bhopal, and a speaker at NALSAR, NSIU Bangalore, and ICFI Hyderabad. I now request Mr. Vivek Reddy to address our students. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please let me know. Thanks, Rishabh. Please let me know if I'm not audible. Please interrupt me if my chain of thought is, if I'm not able to communicate or if I'm not being heard.
Definitely,
I'll switch to
sir.
a different. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that warm introduction. When I see, I don't see the faces of any. I wish I could see the faces of all the students over here. But when I see on the device which I have, I see there are almost 120 or 130 people. I wish I could have seen the faces of all of you students, because it brings me back warm memories of when I joined law school. But nonetheless, my good morning to all of you on this auspicious occasion. I'm particularly privileged. I feel very happy today to have Justice Kalyan Jyoti Sengupta in our midst. You are starting, like in all things, education is a very auspicious journey. And when you are starting on an auspicious journey, you always need the blessings of elders, particularly the distinguished sons of the soil who have served the profession. And we are very lucky, you are very lucky to have Justice Kalyan Jyoti Sengupta in our midst. What he was telling us was not just pearls of wisdom, not just for you, but even for a lawyer like me, someone who is in the middle of their career. Every piece of statement he said, I would say, are pearls of wisdom. And I was thinking when he was saying, like, how I fell short of what he was saying. So I had a privilege of appearing several times for him. He was a very, very tough judge, difficult to convince, but you can only convince him on legal principles, firm legal principles. And he had a very clear and a logical mind. So it was extremely difficult. In the legal profession, we have judges who we classify them as 6 p.m. judges, 10 p.m. judges, 11 p.m. judges, 2 a.m. judges. Meaning a lawyer's preparation will get over by 6 p.m. There's some judges whom you have to finish preparation by 10 p.m. Some judges you need to work till 2 a.m. Justice Kalyan Jyoti Sengupta regretfully had to say was a 2 a.m. judge, because you have to stay up so late. You have to think of what tough questions he would ask. So I'm truly honored to share with him. I wish he was physically in with us. I would disagree with him one thing. He said, please excuse me for some of the useless old things I would say. I respectfully disagree, sir. I think it's what you said. Sometimes a young student may not appreciate, but please remember what he said. Sometime later in life, as you go through your law school journey, what he said will strike. So I salute his presence. I'm also very happy to see very familiar faces. Narasimha Rao Garu, Hargopal Reddy Garu, Madhusudan. I have been a privilege of coming to ICFI for the last 5 or 6 years. I can commit. I can talk about I'm the witness, to use legal, since we are all lawyers now. So let me say I'm the witness to the statements made here, particularly that about the ICFI's commitment to legal education. I am the witness. You don't need to. If Mr. Narasimha Rao Garu says, you might say that he's saying it because it's his baby. But I can stand in the witness box and ready to be cross-examined, and I can state that the amount of commitment they have for the legal education, the continuous, relentless efforts to improve legal education, to ensure that each generation of law students become better lawyers. Let's engage with new topics. Let's engage with more recent issues. Let's ensure that they have a strong foundational in the core subjects. I am the witness to that, because I have seen several of them. Even though ICFI was very far away from the city, Mr. Narasimha Rao is always insistent that our students should not be deprived. So I welcome you all to this wonderful institution. I welcome all of you to join this, who have made the decision to join this place. You are about to about to begin a new journey, very likely a very roller coaster journey as well, because this is not going to be an easy profession. It's not going to be an easy, it's not going to be an easy school where you can come once in a while over the weekend, and that is I can say from beginning that that's a sure shot recipe for failure. It may have worked during Justice Kalyan Sengupta days, but I can also tell you that how to succeed in this school, I'm going to spend some time later in this one, but how to fail would be not taking the school seriously. There is no way of shortcut in this institution, and I have seen that firsthand. I have seen, I have the opportunity of also hiring and working with students from your university. So there are at least 3 or 4 students who have worked with me and are still working with me who have come from your university. So I have a ringside view of how legal education is being taught over here. And therefore I really welcome you to this journey. It almost takes me 20 years back when I started my legal education, and the hope, the aspirations which I had. I asked Mr. Natsamaragar, why are you inviting me for this? Like, particularly when there is a distinguished person like Justice Kalyan Sengupta. He said, as a young lawyer, I still consider myself young, as a young lawyer, share your experiences, share how legal education has been, how legal profession you have seen. And I thought that was that I cannot give you the pearls of wisdom which Justice Sengupta has given you, but what I could share with you is what I went through as a lawyer. Like, 17 years ago, I was sitting in the same place that you are sitting. There was an orientation sessions for us. At that time, there was only one national law school at that time, the Bangalore Law School. So that was the only, I would say, like a 5-year course which was there. None of these colleges were there. So I still remember going through. So I have gone through the 5-year, unlike most other distinguished people, unlike Justice Kalyan Sengupta or other distinguished people who have made a mark in the profession, who have gone through what is called a 3-year course. I am one of the, I'm not saying the early product, but one of the subsequent products of this 5-year education model. And I have lived through the 5-year education model. I have had the opportunity to study abroad in a very distinguished college, having worked there, learned some skills, and come back to India, and now practicing as a lawyer in Hyderabad and in Delhi. So I have had that. So the topic given to me is the divinity of the legal profession. So I asked Justice Narasimha Garu that, how would I talk about to a people who are about to start the legal education, who probably maybe in 2 minds, where have I come, about the divinity of the legal profession? Isn't that a bit too deep? Then I realized that it's actually not. I would rather, what I would be most helpful to you is to talk about my own experience, and particularly the mistakes which I have made, the mistakes which people around me have made, the mistakes which I went through and I subsequently overcame. Maybe that might be a meaningful conversation. See, ultimately, as one of the eminent judges of the US Supreme Court once said, the life of law is not logic, but experience. Logic is very important in the law, extremely important. But people come to law is a reaction to a social problem. A law often comes in, a legislature or a judge, when they make a law, in extreme cases, when a law is made, it is a reaction to a social problem. So each lawyer would come with their own rich experiences. You have just heard from Justice Sengupta, his rich experiences. Particularly, I really had amazed at when he said he refused to go in a client's car and he would cycle all the way. Trust me, today I would not do that, because I don't have those background. In fact, if I would insist that my client, of course, more often than not, I've seen several people around me who would only insist to commute in a client's vehicle. So each one has got, and that's where we are falling behind. Okay, but I do want to talk about what will be meaningful for me is share my experiences, which will help you in charting your own career. But before I do that, this is, and let's be very clear. I think all of you have finished your intermediate, or what they call as 10+2. You are about to commence on a 5-year journey in your life. This is what I would call as a 5-year journey. Imagine in your entire life, if the average age is around 70 years, you're going to spend the next 5 years in this institution. This is a new chapter of your life. If someone were to tell me that you're going to spend 5 years, how are you going to, looking back, how are you going to define how you're going to spend this 5 years? This is a very important chapter. It's in your hands. Till now, I would say your life was partly in your parents' hands. Your life was partly in your teacher's hands. You had a very structured environment. There was exams, there were correct answers, there were tuitions, you had to fulfill. Now, slowly, you're making a transition from a very structured life till now. The chapters in your life were partly written by your parents, by a faculty, by near and dear ones. But now this chapter, which you're now going to start, the next 5 years of journey, you are the sole author of that chapter. You are accountable to yourself. You are the ones who are going to decide how this next chapter is going to be. And whatever you do, irrespective of how you do, what you do in the next 5 years, it will lay a foundation and it will govern your outlook for the rest of your life. I still recollect how my law school education has helped me in my professional and in my personal career. I recollect how it has helped me, how it has hurt me, and how it was adequate and how it was inadequate in some places. But irrespective of what, it is going to affect the rest of your life. So just imagine for a second. So when you're going to do 5 years of your life, I would want to, and particularly, you see, there's a difference between 5 years at the age of 65, 70, 75, and 5 years at the budding age of 17. The most productive and innovative years. Some of the greatest ideas were formed during this time. So I would ask myself the question, how can I extract the most amount of juice, most amount of energy from these 5 years? I think that's the really critical question I would ask myself. And to address this question, I would share my experience as to how to go about these 5 years. But these are my inputs. These are my experiences. Other people have other experiences. You have to formulate your own path, your own chart. And what I intend to offer today is my guidance and is the road which I have traversed. The experiences I have gained from the road which I have traversed. You have to form your own road, and maybe what I tell you could be a torchlight for you when you go on your road. I think before I move ahead, I think the one theme which struck from Justice Sengupta's talk and Mr. Avian Rao Garu was this comparison between law schools, national law schools, foreign law schools, and other law schools. And a lot of young people are in two minds. Should I go to national law school? What I should do now? I can give you that freedom because I happen to go to those law schools. I was a gold medalist from the National Law School, Bangalore. At the time when it was the only law school, I had gone to the Harvard Law School. I'm on the governing council of the National Law University, Delhi. And having seen all of that, and I have seen in my office, I have almost 15 to 18 juniors, and I have people from IC5, I have people from the national law schools, I have people from other not even colleges with the pedigree of a ICFI law school. I can say with clear confidence that today, if I were to hire somebody, and I get a lot of resumes every month, in fact, people apply. If I were to hire somebody, I would look for a person with that commitment. I would look for how he is framing his thoughts. The fact that he is from a pedigreed national law school, in fact, there are now so many of them, and I'm not even sure if all of them do a good service to education, to legal education, whether they lay a good foundation. If someone were to apply, and I do, and since I can speak from this experience, like if someone were to apply from ICFI who has top grades, someone who has great work experience, they have done very well in various fields. Some of them have gone abroad. Some of them have done excellent careers. I would place a premium on that, as opposed to someone with just a pedigree and all that a pedigree has to offer. I'm not saying that ICFI doesn't have a pedigree, because of the hard efforts made by the faculty here, Mr. Rao, and the dean of this, Hargopal Reddy. I think ICFI has managed to establish a commitment to the legal education. And that's exactly what a student should be thinking for, is that on this journey, I'm going to travel alone on this journey, but are the faculty from this college, is the atmosphere in this college, are they offering me a platform? As a law student, I have to prosper on that platform. But does ICFI offer me a platform to survive, to excel? And you will discover this, and you will see this. But I can, at least having interacted, I can say it, because of the faculty's commitment and the great infrastructure that you have here, ICFI offers that unique platform where you can sit and excel. And this is evident from the fact that while other law universities are still struggling over the entrance examination, which one to be held and all of that, ICFI has taken the lead to commence classes, to commence education. I think this itself is evident as to the institution's commitment to legal education. And as long as someone is willing to invest that effort in me, I'm more than happy. I would grab that and move forward and go forward. So let me dispel the myths in this thing. Yes, do those colleges have big pedigree? They do, but do they offer overriding benefit in this marathon race called the legal education / legal profession? The answer, with all the weight of the experience, I can say is without hesitation, unhesitatingly, I would say the answer is no. If you have a strong skills, it's the journey is yours. The conquest is yours, and you will be able to make it in this profession, whichever profession or whatever career you intend to make. Mr. Rao also talk about law school, like why join law? Like, it's a lot of people. I know a lot of people have joined law to become lawyers, do this, but I have noticed that the principle that you do law only to become a lawyer was a very natural thing to us. Why are you doing law? Because I want to become a lawyer. But facts have shown, and particularly after the 5-year program has started, that a lot of people, I think 20 to 25% of people who do the 5-year law course do not necessarily end up as lawyers. A lot of people have joined the civil service. People have joined public policy. People have joined businesses. People have joined, have become, who are running NGOs. People from my own class, if I look back, a lot of them, people are making change in other fields allied with law. So I would certainly encourage you to become lawyers. It's the ultimate charm is the ultimate thrill which you get as a lawyer is to have someone like Justice Sengupta preside you, to make a difficult argument in front of him, someone who's unwilling to accept your argument, persuading him by marshalling facts, convincing him, and a very tough brain on the other side who's disagreeing with you, convincing him, and then if you're lucky, getting a favorable order. And when you walk out of the courtroom with that thrill, Nothing in my life can beat that feeling. The feeling when you walk out of a court managing to persuade a difficult judge to your viewpoint is I would say the ultimate charm of being a lawyer. And I wish, I encourage you, I virtually I would incite all of you to go through that charm, to go through to take up the legal profession because of that. But that's not necessarily the only way. Some people have chosen to become transactional lawyers who would go and ensure that people form now that we are a globalized economy, contracts are very important, and now there are a lot of complex contracts with a lot of multinationals coming in, so it's very challenging to draft contracts which are going to withstand in the court. So that's a very difficult skill. They've become more complex than ever. There are a lot of considerations to be taken into account. So a lot of my friends are now what I would call as in the transactional lawyering field. I respect them, although I was not enthused by that field. I thought ultimately a lawyer should be in the court, but a lot of them are in that field, and they get there's a great thrill in that field as well. So a lot of people do transactional lawyering. A lot of people, because of the facilities law does, are in the civil service, are in the business. I still remember when I went for an orientation session for and I only mention it because it gives you, because it doesn't, not for a chip on the shoulder. When orientation session in the US for my legal education in Harvard, the professor there told me that there are more CEOs, chief executive officers, from the Harvard Law School than from the Harvard Business School. I mentioned that because I know ICFI also has a business school here. And he gave me a reason. Can you think of why there are more chief executive officers from the law school than from the business school? He said because lawyers are trained to deal with human problems. Lawyers are trained to deal with tough situations. And for a corporation, which has to deal with the government, which has to deal with regulations, that experience is extremely instructive. Like ultimately, in a company, if you notice, all the functions are handled by the people on the ground, but dealing with the big problem is what a CEO does. So don't assume that because you came to legal education, you're automatically pigeon slotted or you have a slot in something. Legal education is a strong foundation to do a lot of wonderful things. Some of the CEOs of some of the biggest corporations, Boeing, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, most of them have a legal law degree. So that brings my first point, that the law is not just a set of rules, but what we call as applied social science. It is a reaction to a problem. So society at some point of time felt a problem. Like, for example, right now, there's a new law which is going to come into effect called personal data protection. The information which you share on the internet with big companies. Now, that's a problem. Now, the problem is that everybody feels that your information your privacy is not being protected. To deal with this problem, a new law is going to come. Now, to understand that problem, now it's a lawyer who is going to apply that problem to a given situation. When everybody frames the law, they'll frame the law in a theoretical sense. It's the lawyer who has to, when that law actually becomes effective, it's a lawyer who has to deal with it. A classic example given is that there is very simple. There's a rule which says that no vehicle is allowed. No vehicle with wheels is allowed in a park. Would that apply to a baby stroller? See, no one thinks of these things, but it is the lawyer who has to deal with these micro problems. And when you develop that analytical framework of how to deal with a problem in the facts of your client's case, your mind becomes so sharp that that you can see when anyone puts a broad solution, you can easily say, no, that proposal will not work because of XYZ reasons. How do you develop that skill? Because unlike other subjects, and whenever you study, and I'll come to that in a second, when it comes to study political science, history, you will see a narrative, like this is what happens in this school of thought, in this school of thought. But in law, you will see one of the unique things, and right from your first day in law school, you will see when you take up any legal subject, on any issue, there are two conflicting thoughts. And as a lawyer, you chisel out which is the correct one. Like, you have to, those two thoughts process, there is one party saying this and there's another party saying this. And a judge literally has to chisel out, and you have to help in the chiseling framework. So that makes your mind very, very sharp. With that framework, you can easily make out as to, when someone when a non-lawyer tells me a proposal, like, hey, to find a solution, the government should do this. Immediately, my lawyer brain tells me why that will work and why that will not work for three reasons, and three reasons why it does not work. That's the advantage which you get while doing a legal education. And that framework will help you not just in the legal profession, it will help you across the board. As a lawyer, when I am representing my client and I'm working late, sometimes, and trust, one of the few downsides of the legal profession is that you have to work very, very hard. Why? Because when I'm working till 1 a.m. in the night trying to figure out the clinching argument for my client, there's another colleague of mine who's on the opposite side engaged with my client, whose only job is to prove I am wrong. Right? He's also working till 1 a.m. in the night also to show why I am wrong. And I am working till 1 a.m. in the night only to show why it's wrong. And to prevail, I need to think through clearly, as Justice Sengupta said, marshal my facts very well, find the supporting law, and then move ahead. So that's a skill which you're going to learn. That's not a skill which can be learned overnight. Years of experience, the foundation laid in the legal foundation laid in law school, that's the background experience which helps you. There's an excellent book. I don't know if I would recommend this book. He's a great writer. He's an author called Malcolm Gladwell. He came up with this rule called 10,000 hour rule. He said, the Beatles, he said that the famous singers called the Beatles, or anybody, they are not, when you hear their music, they are, you think they're genius. But he said, genius is not about inspiration. Genius is about perspiration. The amount he said, before Beatles, four boys became great singers, they spent 10,000 hours singing in small clubs for $1, $2. That 10,000 hour rule, 10,000 hours which they put in, formed a foundation for them to become great singers. What you do in law school is part of that 10,000 hours. When a new case comes to me, I draw upon my years of experience, and particularly my years of education which I have had in my legal education. I draw from that well of knowledge and that well of information when I go and present my case. So I would encourage all of you, and I have seen some of my fellow students in my journey have said, no, law school is fine. It's okay to ignore it. Let's enjoy this portion of the life. Please do enjoy this portion of the life, but please do remember that this is a journey which, if you take it seriously, you will feel rewarded. Dealing with your professors, dealing with your fellow students, please take this journey very, very seriously. This is, as I said, you are the author of this journey. And the more you take it seriously, the more rewarded you will feel it to be. In my mind, that's the first reason. The first reason that it's understanding the legal process makes you a skilled mind. The second reason I would say is particularly for a lawyer, is that when you go to, I don't know how many of you have dealt with a lawyer, but I'm sure you have dealt with a doctor. I'm sure most of you would have gone to a hospital, you have seen an emergency ward and all of that. And when you go to an emergency ward,
Sorry, sir, please continue.
yeah, okay. When you go to an emergency ward, you hand your life to the doctor. The doctor holds your destiny as to what he's going to do. The same thing with a lawyer. When a client comes to you, particularly sir was giving the example of a criminal appeal in a murder case. When he walks into you and he gives you the file, he's not just giving that file or the case. He's handing over the keys to his destiny to you for the rest of his life. And it's a moral obligation of you, and not just in a criminal case, even a civil property case. People have worked their entire life to invest in a property. And if something goes wrong, and when they come to you, they are handing over the keys to their hard work. Now, the burden is on you to ensure that you get all the knowledge, the skills you have at play to ensure that you serve that worthy cause. So it's a huge responsibility to ensure that case goes on the right track. It's not necessary that you must win every case, but the case should not suffer because of your lack of knowledge or your lack of skills. So it's therefore extremely critical that that having a correct framework is very important. And that's the second reason why you want to be a lawyer, because people have implicit trust on you. I'm sure you must have seen several popular media, Bollywood, Tollywood movies where they make fun of lawyers. Everybody makes fun of lawyers, but everybody wants a lawyer. They will never go they'll say lawyers charge a lot of money. They'll say they keep taking dates. There's a lot of people make a lot of fun about lawyers. But trust me, if they are in any difficult situation, they would want their lawyer. They make fun of every other lawyer, but they're not their own personal lawyer. Why? Because he guides them in the right way. So that's why before a person the Americans have a very good word for a lawyer. They call him counselor. Mr. Counselor, he will say. The lawyer is more of a European thing. The Americans have a word, Mr. Counselor. Why? Because you counsel the client. Before you argue for him, you counsel the client whether to go in this way or whether to go. When he walks to you in the room, it's like a person walking to the room in emergency. Lawyers specialize in emergency work because problems for clients don't come on schedule. They come at odd times. So when a client walks into your room, he comes with a heavy burden. You have to counsel him whether going to court is the right thing. Is there any other way? Is there a strategic way to do it? So, and to do that, you have to build on your wealth of experience. And that experience doesn't come overnight. There's a famous saying, the law has two things, reasoning and experience. Is experience tested against reason and reason tempered with experience. So both are equally critical. And that's the reason why I think these are the two reasons why I would say you should you should engage in the study of law. As I said, please let me know if I've crossed my time. I'm sorry, but and if I'm Rishik, please let me know. Please feel free to interrupt me. A speaking lawyer can never be stopped.
No problem, sir. You are welcome to speak to people.
Yeah.
They are listening to you very seriously. Being a student of law from NALSR, NLSU, and Harvard, they are keen to know many things from you.
No, sir. But yeah, as I said, sir, those are I have learned how to unlearn. The greatest disservice an education can do is to build a closed mind. And so I have learned over a period of time that those chips are actually not very helpful. But let me talk about the mistakes which my colleagues who have seen some of the common mistakes people as a law student makes. I have made some of them, and I want to share those mistakes so that often you learn from your mistake itself. The first mistake people end up making is to believe that law is a set of rules. Trust me, this is a mistake you will. When I say it, it sounds very simple, But all of us, I've seen even the most distinguished making, law is a set of traffic rules. Like you need to know the rule and you can say whether someone is right or wrong. We are used to this multiple entrance model, right? Like so I have taken multiple entrance examination. I'm sure you also have taken. There is a question and there are 4 answers, A, B, C, D. And I need to figure out what is the correct answer. I need to do that. Nothing can be further wrong than that. Law is not a set of rules. As I said, law is a reaction to a human problem. Each one's problem is going to be different. And the first thing that you get this out of your mind at this beginning, that's the greatest help that you can have. For when a client comes to me and if he has a problem, and I can't tell him that, okay, your problem is the correct answer is option D. But option D is not available to you, so please get out of the room. No, you can't do that. So therefore, I as a lawyer have to continuously understand what are the boundaries of the law, how I can push that client in that, where do I, people often say a lawyer's job is to find a loophole. No, a lawyer's job is to find a person's need for justice within the framework of the law. I need to know how, if a particular rule says that you must do this, I must know why that rule came about so that then I can fit my client's case into a legal channel. It's not my duty to judge. It's for the judge's duty to judge whether my client did it right or wrong. It's my duty to present my client's facts in a dispassionate manner. And the moment I accept something as like a set of the legal formula, I am gone. So I still remember as a law student, even I and so many of my fellow colleagues would cram a set of legal rules and would treat them like the Bhagavad Gita. These are, and be beholden to them. As I have slowly, as I said, with age comes experience. None of these legal rules are golden. In fact, what I learned as fundamental, I've questioned them by the time in my very first year of legal practice itself. So learn the ability to question everything, and more important, be open to be questioned by others. Like, there is a confidence which comes from preparation. So when you read something, you feel very confident, and therefore you feel less open to being questioned by others. But in the legal profession, the sooner because every day in the morning, the other side lawyer tells me that I'm blatantly wrong. I have no knowledge of the law. Every day he tells me. So how to deal with him? He may have a point one of these days, he may not have a point. But I must be open to the idea of engaging with him and dealing with and tell the judge, despite what he has said, no, it is wrong for this reason. He's right for this and he's wrong for that. I can only get to know when you develop that appetite that somebody will always say you're wrong. So you must be willing to engage with the other side. So please learn the art of what I would call as there is only 20% white and 20% black in the profession. It's like only 80% is shades of gray. For any situation, there is no clear answer. It's only on the very rarely you will get a clear case which is covered by the existing law, and you can easily find a solution with the client. 1 + 1 = 2 very, very rarely happens in the profession. But in the law school, often students develop, I need to learn these principles, and if I learn these principles, I apply to these set of facts, this comes a solution. That myth only exists in law school. So please learn to break that myth early in time. It's not a set of rules. Ultimately, law is what, as the Supreme Court say, what the judges say. And what the judges say is what an intelligent lawyer can convince. And what an intelligent lawyer can convince is how well prepared he is and what experience he has got. So please learn to have, there'll be a lot of 80% shades of gray. So to deal with this environment, you must question and be ready to be questioned. The second mistake which people have done, people in law school I've seen often making, is that I must learn all branches of law. I must learn everything. So that I must learn as much information as I can get. There'll be a textbook has 500 pages. So I must learn all these principles. I must accumulate a lot of information in my mind. Very important. Information is very important. Knowledge is very important. But I would say more than that, the analytical framework that you build is more important. If you go to any law library or any lawyer's office, you can see behind me, there are so many books. No lawyer has read all those books. If someone has told you, they're either lying to you. Okay. No lawyer has read any of all the books. What a lawyer can know, he knows where to find the information. He knows he has a torchlight. That from that torchlight, when a client comes to me with a problem, I have a torchlight, and I can find, using the torchlight, I'll get the relevant information from you. That torchlight is your brain. Sharpen that torchlight. The better your torchlight is, the better information you can get. I still remember when I was in college as well, law school, my professors also, some of them used to teach everything, cram everything from A to Z. Let section 1 to section this thing, all that. And when I went to the US, and this is what I learned was a big difference. Very, very big difference. There was a subject which I had taken in the US school, and the professor and the textbook had 20 chapters. The professor said, I will only teach only one chapter to you. Entire course. He said, I will only teach one chapter. Some of the students got up and said, sir, but what about the other chapters? One of this thing. He said, I'm not here to teach you the law. I'm here to train you how to think like a lawyer. Just note, I'm going to repeat that. He said, I'm not here to teach you the law. I'm here to train you how to think like a lawyer. You take one law, let's examine it deep and see what can be how you will argue both sides. Because once you develop that skill, it's once you learn how to ride a car, people need not teach you how to ride all the cars, a Maruti car, a Volvo car, or this thing. No one need to teach you all the cars. If they teach you to drive a basic car, a Maruti 800, and once you have learned that skill, you can use that skill and drive even a truck as well. If you have that foundation. So students make this mistake of what I would call as let's learn how to drive each and every vehicle. I would prefer to focus on learn how to drive the basic car properly. So in evidence, I'll still relate the evidence, and this is what happened. I took a class in evidence and abroad, and it is so fresh in my mind. In evidence, we are taught, I'm sure in Bollywood movies you have seen, eyewitness evidence is very important. Eyewitness means someone who has seen an incident, right? Someone who has seen an incident. That means if someone who has seen a murder or someone who has seen a crime, then it's what is called as primary evidence. So in India, it is still taught in the profession. Primary evidence is very, very important. Very, very. So like the first mistake I made, which is master all the rules, right? So I made that mistake. Eyewitness, like a parrot, eyewitness evidence is very important. Eyewitness evidence is very important. And when a professor in the US asked me, why do you think? He said, eyewitness evidence is primary evidence. I said, Then one day, and not just me, a bunch of other people also had that. So one day, he was talking about cross-examination, and one day he had a small experiment, and I will relay that experiment. It has been done several times, but I have seen that evidence live. Like in a same class with almost 60 people in a classroom, a professor was teaching in the middle of a class. A watchman came, a security guard came, and he, with an air gun, he fired a shot in the class. Just listen to me carefully. He came and fired a shot in the class. And he went away. He said, after that, the professor continued, oh, sorry for this disturbance, something happened. And after half an hour, the class was ending. He gave an assignment that day saying, Each of you, all of you, 60 of you, go back, write in your next day paper, what happened today? What happened today in the entire class, from the first minute to the 60th minute, and write about what all incidents happened. So that was a small experiment, and each of us wrote. I thought it was a fun thing, but nonetheless, because we had mandatorily had to do it, so each of us wrote. He took all our papers, and then he came back after 3 days, and he said, my teaching assistant reviewed all of these papers I have seen, and he took out 5 or 6 of them just as a sample. He said, you thought it's a very simple experiment, right? Like, all of us were there sitting, looking at the teacher with all our eyes. Focus was on the teacher. Security guard came, he shot, and he went away. Now, 5 or 6 of us, now he read out just took 5 or 6, and he said, no one account was the same. He said, you all said eyewitness evidence is great, right? See, not one account is matching the others. Just take 5 or 6 of them. And tomorrow, when you go to court as a lawyer, when you have to cross-examine, you will not get 5 or 6. You will just get one person. You will not even get, at least I had the benefit of 60 papers. So therefore, I could know what happened. But there was you'll get only one witness. Therefore, he said, cross-examination is very, very important. Don't accept as a beholden truth that, because someone is an eyewitness, you've done that. He emphasized as to why it's a lawyer's job when he cross-examines to get to drill the person, merely because if someone comes to and says, no, I saw it. I saw he came. One person said he came in blue shirt. One person said he came and shot on the ground, air. Someone said he shot 2 shots. Someone said he shot 1 shot. Imagine your client is going to be convicted based on that evidence. So is it not your job as a lawyer to grill that person, to ensure that the truth comes out? So that's the reason why. Now, you can either learn that, law of evidence in over a period of 20s, 100 set of rules, but that experience has, so anytime subsequently I've handled several criminal matters. So whenever someone comes and tells me that it is eyewitness evidence is there, sir, the first thing that comes to my mind is must be a shaky one. Like, that experience has put a foundation in my mind. Don't accept eyewitness evidence as a holy grail. So this is the wealth of experience that which you get, and do not deprive you of these learnings. Teachers, you see, as I said, you are going to be the author of this. Please remember, you're going to be the author of this 5 years. Teachers will help you. Some teachers are very imaginative. Like, I've seen teachers who would engage with you like as if a fellow participant. They would teach, they would be immersed in it. Some teachers offer immense wisdom, but their teaching methodology may be more pedagogical, maybe more lecture mode. Each one has his own contribution. It's for you, like a butterfly, to take the juice out of them. That the burden is on you because you are the author. Don't discard a subject just because the teacher is not able to communicate or hold your attention. I know teaching a 60 or sometimes 100 room class is so difficult to hold everybody's attention. But as I keep saying, the burden is on you. I still remember I did labor. There's a course called labor law, and I did that in college. And I've never practiced labor disputes again in my life. That's not an area of law I specialize in. But when a couple of cases came, because I had the benefit of paying attention to my teachers, the framework, at least the basic foundation, is very clear. So even though you don't want to learn, please pay. As I said, law is a reaction to a social problem. So that identify why the problem has come, then you will at least get a sense of what the subject is. You will have a weak torchlight. In some subjects, you'll have a strong torchlight, but at least have that torchlight. That framework is so immensely valuable to you. So that's a second mistake I would say. Don't avoid this mistake of, I must learn all the law, but more importantly, ensure that you have the foundational strong torchlight. But one thing I would say, there are what Justice Sengupta called as the foundational courses. I remember. when I joined law school, people used to say, I want to do corporate law. They've not even started law. I thought, whoa, I want to do corporate law, sir. Corporate law is, I've already decided, several students came to mind, I've already decided I'm going to be a corporate lawyer. It dawned on me, I thought I was quite enamored, but it dawned on me later on that corporate law is essentially advanced contracts law. So there will be a set of foundational courses. What we call, when you build a building, the foundation that you lay, ensure that you pay great attention to whether you're going to do criminal law or not. Trust me, there are a sense of foundational courses, and I can list them. One is contract, tort, trust, civil procedure, criminal procedure, property law, and specific relief. Whether you're going to be a businessman, whether you're going to be a lawyer, whether you're going to do a transactional lawyer, ensure that these 6 or 7 subjects, if there's out of this entire monologue which I'm giving you, there's one thing which you have to take back from this. Ensure that those 6 or 7 subjects are very, very, very strong. Because I have several students come and join during internships, people subsequently come and join my office as lawyers. I find these are often called as the common law subjects, the basic foundation. Their foundation, the basic law subjects is so vague that sometimes in a lawyer's office for 1 year, we have to make them do that. When your grasp of these foundational subjects is very good, your imagination can go much deeper. So do a favor to yourself. I don't care what you do, but in these foundational subjects, contracts, tort, trust, civil procedure, criminal procedure, property, specific relief, please ensure master the materials over there. Because those form the foundation structure of that one. The third mistake, which is people often assume that having a legal background, what's the point of becoming a lawyer? People with lawyers' children, judges' children, legal background is very helpful. And since I don't have that, I have a disadvantage. So let me look into this. I have spent a lot of time thinking about it. And I can say with empirical, like really with actual facts and data. When I joined the college in my law school, there were only, I would say, 8 or 9 people or 10 people who had a legal background. In 20 years before us, in the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, the law was a family affair. People from lawyers' families and judges' families would become a lawyer. Now, in my own college, I've seen all my friends. Most of my friends are lawyers who have no legal background altogether. The one good thing colleges like ICFI and all of these 5-year colleges have done is that they have democratized the legal profession. What was once in hand. So please do not even feel disadvantaged even for a second that there is not a lawyer in your family. Out of the 20 odd juniors I have, I would say 18 juniors did not have a legal pedigree. And people without any legal pedigree are doing wonderful. That rule is, yes, I can say that my father is a lawyer, so therefore I certainly enjoy the benefit over there. I'll be first to, in the sense that when I wanted to do other things, he would say, no, the legal profession is a wonderful one. But I have done several of my colleagues, 10 out of my friends had no legal, and they're doing as good, if not better than me. So please do not, I urge all of you, please do not have this myth in your mind that if someone tells you that law is a lawyer's domain, just look around you and you will find multiple examples of that. The second myth, which, and I don't know, unfortunately, I can't see all the faces over here. From the last 20 years, there has been an explosion of female law students into the profession. There's been a virtual explosion. It's like the influx of female lawyers into the profession can be comparable to India's rise in corona cases. That's how dramatic has been the rise of this thing. There are like, so the opportunity for, if you go to any major law firms, I have only, when lawyers come to brief me, now I'm slightly in a senior role with 20 years experience, so people come to brief me. I would say if out of 4 lawyers, 2 or 3 out of the lawyers in the last 4 months have only been female attorneys. The law firms are exploding with female attorneys. They are, so I would please do not believe for the female attorneys, female law students. I want to appeal to you over there. This is a profession for you. Like, this is a profession where people have to put in long hours. People have to put in, and it is, when I was in it, and I can say when I was in college itself, the National Law School had to build an extra hostel for girls because they never thought there'll be so many girl students coming in. And so year after year, the records are being broken. When I often come to see ICFA, I often see a lot of female figures. So for the female, I especially urge you, with the bottom of my heart to ensure that please take this profession. Don't get, there are, of course, there are a lot of institutional disabilities, but in my own law office, I have more female attorneys than this one. And I have found it, what a big difference it makes. The last myth which I would want to talk about is, the sooner you get out of it, is the myth that talking long, writing long shows that you are well informed. And example could be me itself. Like, I've been speaking more than my allotted quota. So this thing, but the greatest skill which you can build in this legal profession is that the ability to convey what you want to say in the shortest possible way, or write in a shortest possible way. When the art of speaking crisply and the art of writing crisply is a skill to be mastered. There was a very great American judge who said, and it is such a good, someone came and said, "Sir, how come you wrote such a long judgment? Like, it's running into hundreds of pages, like 500 pages. He said, "Sorry, I didn't have time." He said, "Sorry, I didn't have enough time to write a short one." It takes more time to write in a crisp way. Please, and I tell each other person, please learn the art of communicating orally and in writing in a very crisp manner. That's a big skill. Get out of this myth of communicating in a long form, both writing and orally. And finally, I understand that you're a 5-year program. So this is the mistake which I had personally made. I thought, I want to be a lawyer. Why study all these subjects called history, social sciences, political science? Like, what use they are? And I used to ignore. Subsequently, I've learned that that these, when a famous American judge told, when he went to law, he said, "What do you want to do? Like, how should I prepare for law?" He said, "Don't just read the law, read around the law. That way, your experience gets very deep." I can't tell you, one of the big downsides of law is that law makes your mind very, very sharp. Like, it's like I don't know if you've seen like a hot knife, when you put in front of cheese or butter, it just goes right through it. Like, once you're trained legal brain, like, immediately you can make out what is relevant, what is not relevant. Your mind becomes very, very sharp. But the problem is that, I don't know if any of you have seen a knife being sharpened. When you sharpen a knife, law makes you that knife. It becomes sharper and sharper, but also becomes narrower and narrower. It's like law is that's the downside of doing law, that your mind becomes very sharp, but it becomes very narrow. You become very focused. The benefit of these subjects is that it makes you the mind broader. So do not make the mistake which I made of ignoring political science, business, whatever allied fields that you do. Because, as they say, I have to convince a judge, and sometimes legal arguments may not be sufficient. You may have to convince a judge, you need to dwell on the larger experience. So I hope this was helpful in what I have said. I have shared my, as my commitment to Professor Rao, share my experiences. One last thing. The friendships which I have formed in my law school are my deepest friendships I have made. So don't just look to the teacher, look to your left, look to your right. The people next to you are going to be your friends. The friendships formed during the undergraduate year are nothing compares to that. So work with other friends. Don't fall for competition, compete with yourself. And one thing is that try to form study groups, like as a part of this debating. Like when you get when a subject, form a study group so that you can interact with others. This will deepen your friendships. This will deepen your knowledge. This will deepen your skills. So look to your friends as well, and I welcome you to this journey called law. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Sorry for if I'm exceeded my time. Sorry, Mr. Murugan.
No, not at all. Yeah, Mr. Rishabh.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Reddy, sir. You just walked us through so many turmoils when we were in law school, and whatever tips and additional insight you gave for under the law school curriculum, it was wonderful. We truly acknowledge and we really appreciate that. Now, may I request Dr. Akbar Khan, Associate Professor for ICPI Law School, Hyderabad, to propose a vote of thanks with due permission from Director Sir.
Mr. Akbar, please 1 minute. I request Professor Argopalati to give a few words as a concluding remarks for this.
No, because so thank you, Professor Narasimha Rao. And I really thank both Justice Sen Gupta. It's not vote of thanks. And my good friend Vivek Reddy for giving an excellent exposure of the various facets of the legal education as well as the legal profession. We are extremely happy for sharing your experiences with the young students. We know pretty well that more than 50% of the India's population consists of young people below 25 years. This is the rich human resource of this country. And as teachers, we have to, because train them in a meaningful way. As one English writer, because William Arthur Ward rightly pointed out that a mediocre teacher only tells, a good teacher explains, a superior teacher demonstrates, a great teacher inspires the students. I'm extremely happy to inform our young students that we have great teachers in the ICPI Law School. Apart from teachers, we have the visiting faculty, the retired judges of the High Court of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana as visiting professors, and also the practicing advocates like my good friend Vivek Reddy. He is also, we consider him as a part and parcel of the ICPI Law School, where we are not seeing him as different and separate from that of the ICPI Law School. And because that as young students, you have to set the goals. This is my goal. I have to reach that goal. I have to achieve that goal. Mere setting the goal is of no use unless you have the zeal to reach that goal. Already, because Vivek Reddy made it more clear that there is no shortcut for success except through hard work. It is only through hard work, discipline, dedication, and commitment that you can reach the goals. This is the place where you have to shape your career. because you know that your parents have a lot of hopes on you. You have to live to their expectations. As one rightly put it, that any investment of the parents in children's education always pays rich dividends. Dividends to you, dividends to the family, dividends to the society, and dividends to the nation. Never think yourself less than what you are. You have the capabilities, as rightly pointed out by Vivek Reddy. You have the potential, you have the abilities, but you have to exhibit these abilities only through hard work, only through hard work. Because you know that ICFI Law School Hyderabad is a place where you can learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because Vivek Reddy just now made it more clear that I learned, but because you know that how to unlearn, he came to know once he set up a practice. This is the age where we have to learn, unlearn, and relearn so as to remain relevant and contemporary. We have a taskmaster as the director of the law school. He is none other than Professor Narasimha Rao, and he is available. Faculty members are available 24/7 in the law school to guide you, to help you, to assist you in many ways. This is an opportunity where we have to utilize the rich resources, faculty resources which we have, the rich library resources which we have. We have a computer lab and everything, but because you know that once the situation improves, that you will be inside the ICFI Law School, ICFI University, you can interact, move, mix with the faculty members, with the friends. As Vivek Reddy pointed out, that you can form study groups because group discussion is very essential to exchange views, to share the knowledge in this way that you can grow day by day. By the time you leave the portals of ICFI Law School, it is the desire of everyone connected with the ICFI Law School that you should be the finished products of ICFI Law School and should shine like a baker light. With these few words, I wish you all the best. I welcome you to ICFI Law School. Thank you, Professor Narasimha Rao, for giving me an opportunity to just interact with our students. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to you. School. Chief. Cool. Mr. Justice on Tapati. Of course, speakers, academic and professional integrity, and nuances, parallel impressions, value, the student, the part to pursue a better future in special this Dr. Sainath, Dr. Mahesh Soma, Dr. B.V. Pattabhiram, Rajesh Titan.
Rishabh,
Yes, sir.
there is some communication problem from network problem from Mr. Akbar Khan.
Yes, sir.
So let me complete remaining part.
Sure.
So Akbar, I'll be talking to you all of them. Now, I express my sincere thanks to all the speakers on my personal behalf and also university behalf. And I thank all the parents who participated and the children. I wish all the best to them. And from tomorrow onwards, there will be orientation classes from 10 to 1 on different topics. You join with the same link without fail, so that you'll be learning something. There will be ice breaking session for the college. Now, once you start hearing something from the college, you will be understanding about what the requirements are there and how we are going to move along. So with these words, I once again thanks everyone who's participated, more particularly our Lordship, Honorable Mr. Justice Kalyan Sen Gupta ji, and our friend Mr. Vivek Reddy, and my other colleague and friend Mr. Professor Argopal Reddy, who is a former Vice Chancellor of the University, Acharya Nagarjuna University, and many others who participated here through this virtual Zoom. Really, we would have enjoyed when we meet in person. Now also those days we expect very shortly. Maybe as soon as this pandemic goes out from the place, we'll be able to meet. Till then, instead of losing our time, way to perfectly use the time, and we should not lose time and make any loss for our careers. So with that intention, we started it. We'll be doing regularly on this. We have purchased separate platform, that's a Microsoft Teams for regular classes. Only this orientation class will be like here. There will be a lot of things will be more convenient than this particular part. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Just to inform the students from tomorrow onwards also, you have to use the same link to log in, the same IDs and the password. I think everyone has received the schedule. So please, everyone join the session without fail. It will be for your benefits. Everything regarding the college, the working pattern, the academic schedules, everything will be shared with you in the upcoming sessions regarding examinations, etc. So thank you, everyone.
Any questions if anyone has right now before we end the session?
Maybe questions, sir, we can take maybe in the subsequent sessions. So
yeah,
sure. Thank you, everyone. Yes, sir. Yes, Vice Chancellor, sir. You wanted to say?
No, I want to say, switch off. How do we switch off?
Yeah, sir. I will end it automatically from here, sir.
Yeah, how do we switch off? Yeah.
It will be ended directly from here, sir, from my end.
Can you go ahead so that, thank you.